Hi everyone, it's Justin here with Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. We're so grateful to have you with us. If you can do us a big favor, if you can hit that subscribe button, if you can give us a thumbs up, follow, like, share, subscribe. That would be very helpful. We have big goals. We want to reach and help people in over 300 countries and over 3,000 cities. We have achieved over 100 countries and over 1,000 cities, and we're only able to do that because of you. So thank you very much for all that help, and I would be very gracious if you could do that, and if you are able to. Again, while we're on the subject of doing things that are free, that help Voices for Voices, help others, and help even more. If you can reach out to maybe 25 your closest people in your phone, let them know, share the Voices for Voices podcast, TV show with them, and I would be so gracious if you would do that. That is so awesome. We've had uh, so many listeners and viewers that have done that specific thing just the last few days that we've seen our numbers skyrocket, which just is it. It's like an Elon Musk SpaceX rocket. It's amazing. And you're the one that's amazing, not me. It's all you. It's all you, our viewers and listeners. So thank you so much for all you do for Voices for Voices and for helping people when we have a what could be considered a very divisive time in our history. You're helping us bring people together and unite, which is what our main goal is to help. So helping people is to bring people together and let them know that they're not alone. You're not alone. I'm not alone. Life is always worth living. And thank you so much for all all that you have done and all that you are doing and will do in the future. As you probably know by now, we have dropped episode number 417. Just saying that takes my breath away. So we just dropped episode 417. Nothing short of miraculous. Again, it's all because of you, our viewers, our listeners. You're the reason we have a show. The demand from you is such that uh, it uh, keeps us on our toes, and we want to continue bringing top flight content to you and to those who you bring and share Voices for Voices with. Thank you very much. And it doesn't matter where you watch. If you have an internet connection, you can watch on YouTube and Rumble. If you have internet connection, you can listen to on a variety of listening apps. And yeah, it's hard to say it's hard to take my breath away when it comes to talking because you've seen me and heard me in some long-winded shows. Uh, but it's all in good fun, good humor. I get it. Uh I have to laugh at myself because if we don't laugh, then it's better to laugh than the alternative uh, methods or options out there. So we are, again, Voices for Voices. We're a nonprofit here in the United States. If you donate, if you buy any of our books under Voices for Voices Publishing, you will be able to use the dollars and cents in your tax return as 100% federally tax deductible. So we wanted to share that as well. But all of our shows, they're free. So you can watch, you can listen to our shows, and they're all free. You can watch our TikTok lives, and they're free. So we believe in doing the work, putting the work in to earn the trust, earn the the ability for us to be an organization or a show that entertains you, helps you, gives you tools to help others. And that means more than any donation, any amount of purchases of anything. I'd rather help people step away from the ledge and into the arms of a loving person, a loving first responder that just wants to see just wants to see people live and have a happy, healthy, joyous, prosperous life, whatever that looks like to you, to others, to me, to others. And so that takes us into the topic and the area uh, that I'd like to focus this particular episode on. And as I just mentioned, uh, talking about individuals that have either thought about it or have literally been on the ledge and life's not worth living. And and then you don't have to be a first responder. It can be any caring, loving human being. Uh, First responders generally are the ones that get a call depending on where things are at and in the situation. And I'm not a first responder. I'm not trained in for any first responder actions. I'm just trained in being a human and wanting to help people. Uh, and so that could be a first responder, or could be you, could be somebody you know. Please share this episode if it is somebody you know, uh, because I want them to hear me say thank you if they've ever. Uh, I mean, it's just so hard to think about. Um, Sorry, I'm getting little, a little emotional here. So I just want to say thanks to anybody that's ever helped somebody who was at that point of should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? What's life for me? Um, why should I go on? And and so whether first responder or not, if you've been involved in any facet, even I mean a family member or a loved one, significant other of a person who that's crossed their mind. Not only do we want to say thank you, to the people that are out helping day in and day out the best that they can. Uh, we're talking about mental health, and so it's not just the mental health of the individuals contemplating what 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 their next what their next step is. Is their next step into loving arms, or there's something much different that we don't want ever. And so from the mental health side, person who is though has those loving arms that is helping talk somebody down into a safe place. There's that mental health of, you can't unlive that particular situation. And I know there's training. I've never been in the training. I don't know what's all in the training. I just know that there is training, but training can only take you so far. Just like just like generally most jobs, the if you want the school, or even if you didn't, if you went to an apprenticeship, it's- it doesn't get real until it gets real. Meaning you can read all you want, you can listen, you can go to as many training sessions, hours a year, and it's not really until you're asked to really step in and enact those those things, those processes that you've trained so hard, so long, over and over again. So when you or somebody else is in that situation, and that situation has passed, and hopefully again that the person who had those thoughts uh didn't didn't go further, and and their life, that they came down into those loving arms. And so I can only imagine whoever, that's a first responder, a friend, whoever is that person or persons that is part of that rescue crew, that once their shift is over and they go home, how do you how do you separate the two, is I guess what I'm trying to get at. So let me give you an example. Let's say not you, but let's just say somebody, not you or I, in this hypothetical, say somebody's working in a marketing department and they're working on a new product launch. And so there's, right, labeling, there's, pack other packaging, there's what the product is, and all the testing and all the things that come with that before you can go to market. There's the pricing, there's the costing. And so you have all these aspects. And so a day in the life of somebody like that in marketing, generally speaking, they're able to say at a certain point in the day, this will be here when I come back in the morning or the next day, or if you're going on vacation when you get back from vacation. But you get what I'm talking about. And so that person is able to separate, maybe not all the way. Maybe there's still, thoughts running it in the mind. But when we look at that versus the other, when somebody's just saved a life, or it maybe it ended up on the other side of things, and it didn't work out. How does a person separate again what they're, if they're able to see and hear and the conversation, and there can be second guessing if the situation turned out in a not so great way. Even if the situation turned out where the person did come into those loving arms, and uh, how does one separate that from going home with a significant other and family, or maybe somebody's single. I don't know. Whatever the person's family life is like. So the person ends their shift and they go to their residence, and right, and say, oh well, I'm gonna get something to eat. Change out of my clothes and something more comfortable, or so you're thinking about those types of things. But how does a person think about those when it, the mind could still be clouded, that mental health, whether somebody has a mental illness or not? I couldn't even imagine what it would be like, being a first responder or a bystander. Actually, not a bystander, because a bystander would probably just walk by. So you call it what my friend in Australia it calls upstanders, where somebody's going to do something about it. Um, whether that's the first responders, or whether that's again an upstander that walks by and sees what's going on, and they jump into action because that's just the type of person that they are. So how would a person like that, anybody that's been in a situation that's like, oh my gosh, a true life or death situation I was involved with today. I don't know. I don't have the remedy. I don't. I'm not laughing because it's not funny. I'm that's just I guess my reflex to, like, I don't even know where a person would start. Obviously with therapy, counseling, that would help, I think. But I don't know, day to day, if a person is being exposed to those types of situations, day in and day out. I don't know. I mean, maybe we would change the career. I don't know. it's heavy. And so that person I talked about earlier, that this hypothetical marketing an individual who is able to separate a little bit better the work from home, or they call that, work-life balance. Is it really a balance? I don't know. It's wishful thinking at the minimum. And it's why I bring this up. I bring this up because there's a lot of people out that are hurting because their line of work, or maybe they were that upstander and decided to step in and help. And again, even if the situation ends as positive as possible, the steps to get to that point for the individual that's helping, like there would probably be maybe words that would be expressed, life's worth living, you don't want to do this, or you're worth so much to all the people in your life, so much more to live for, so much more left to do. I mean, I'm just thinking, people talk about that work-life balance. I just don't know how mostly first responders, and then you'll have upstanders, the people that actually will do something if they're walking by, or maybe they're getting home from their job, and they get into their residence, and then they hear commotion, and they go up to see what's going on, and then they see that they're able to help, and so that's what they try to do. And so when you hear me talk about, oh, these huge goals we have, we want to help people in at least 300 countries, at least 3,000 cities, overall, at least 3 billion plus people across the world, at least, or more. These are some of the things that I'm talking about, where a person could feel like they're having the worst day of their life, and they could end up going, wow, I didn't realize I wasn't alone. That right there, that doesn't have money tied to it from Voices for Voices. That has just a human being tied to it. And so the more people we can make aware that maybe we find ourselves in that type of a situation, and we have a choice to be a bystander, just whoosh, walk right by, pretend it's not happening, put in our headphones, or see what we can do to help and be an upstander. Or if you're a first responder, a firefighter, and so we just want to send out when we say we're praying for everybody across the world, no matter if they're a believer in God or not, these are a group of people. When we say that, we're praying for ourselves and everyone across the world, these are a group of people that have this all wound up in their mind when they see it, and then it repeats, and then it repeats, and then it repeats. And then maybe they become one of the people on the other side, and they're the ones contemplating. And the only reason I bring this up, not the only, I said that wrong. One of the reasons I brought this up, and it's been a while, so I'm not gonna say names or anything. I ran into a gentleman one time, and he's a first responder, and he shared some of the different scenes he had seen during his shifts, and then he would come home to his family, and his family would just wanna, think like more of that marketing, like have that separation. And for the longest time, he talked about how hard it was. He said, I'd come home from work seeing this and that, and he explained some of the things that he'd be called out to, and not everybody made it, over the course of many years. But yeah, when he would come home from work, he'd be expected just to kind of like, well, work's work, and you're not at work, you're at home. And so he's going through a lot mentally, as anybody would. I'm speaking for me. And so there was one day or a period of time, like it, it's been a little bit of time since the conversation was brought up in the meeting. So I'm not sure if it was like one specific day or if it was over time. Well, there was one specific day, but before that he was just having a hard time coming coming back from work, and supposed to just be that jovial, happy-go-lucky, like you said, that separation occurred. Work was work, and you're not at work, so you're at home. So let's be at home. And he was finding it harder and harder and harder to do that because of the things he was seeing with his job, and being involved with, trying to rescue, trying to help. The true upstander. I mean, that's it. That was his job, but true upstander. He walked by the scene now after he's retired, and he he'd spring into action just like that. So time goes by, gets to be harder and harder until one day, he literally is writing his note, his suicide note, like the plans, and then the note, to the family, and makes me think it was on maybe a Friday that he was starting to go through, like starting to put things in motion. It wasn't letting anybody know. And even when he shared with the group we were at, it was like, we're not sharing anything, and I'm not sharing names, locate, none of that. So the day, it gets closer to the day that this is it. This is what we have written down. I just, I, I can't go on. I mean, this is a grown man. Not that it matters, doesn't matter what age, male, female at all, that doesn't matter. But this is a grown man with family, married, children, and the things that he had seen that pushed him over the edge, basically. So I got closer to the day, and I don't even know what intervened or how, in a good way, that he was so close to just calling it a day, called it a life. But whatever that thing was, made him rethink and say, you know what? Stuff's tough, but not today, not now. Ripped up the notes, got rid of them somehow. And he's still alive today. Still alive. And so through all that, his family never, at least to my understanding, his family didn't find out, didn't know, didn't have a clue. Maybe that's changed over the years that the conversation came up. But from what I understand is that the family didn't, at least up until the time that he was sharing with us, the family didn't know how close her husband, her dad was. And so I was just in disbelief when he was telling the story. Like again, it's one thing to read in a book, it's one thing to, the training and all of that. But if you're going through something yourself, how hard it has to be. And so every single person has a life worth living, even if it seems like that's not the case, that's not true. It is. We're all here for a reason. I don't even know why I'm still alive. I mean, yeah, we have voices for voices, and this is so awesome. And I guess it's why I am so passionate about the organization, about the work we do, about the shows we do, all the things. It's because I remember stories like that, and I know that there's somebody somewhere that could be hurting and just needs to hear that you're not alone. There's more things to do on Earth, and it's not all work. There's fun things left to do. I'm not going to pretend to know what those fun things are because it's different for everybody. But there are. There's a lot of life worth living. And I think we're all here for a reason. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And that would also be for a reason. Could also be a way to help people. But for right now, if we're alive, if we're breathing, we're here for a reason. And that reason is to be alive. Could be an interaction that we might not even know about. And then we go and do the one thing that we need to do for tomorrow. And we run into somebody, we have a quick conversation, think nothing of it. And maybe that person, just by the fact that you were nice or you opened the door, you held open the door, something that we look at as so insignificant, it could be something as basic as that. To say, I didn't think there was any nice people left in the world. And then somebody like yourself or another person. So that's when I say about these huge goals we have. It's one of the reasons I bring them up because I already know we're helping people on scale, meaning we're helping people in large groups over time to where we're at now. I don't know where we're going to end up. I don't know the exact number. I'm not going to be handed a number before I pass on. It says, "All right, Justin, here's what you said, and here's here's the number that you help with Voices for Voices." But it's having positive goals like that that keeps me going. And so, thank you again for joining us on this episode of the show. Let your friends, let your family, let the world know about Voices for Voices. Let them know. Hit that subscribe button, give us the thumbs up, follow, share, hit up all our social medias, profiles, handles, and we'll be here for another day. So let's celebrate all the voices in the world. And until next time, be a voice for you or somebody in need. And remember, we love you. That's a fact. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.